This is the Improve and Have Fun podcast. I'm improving myself, having fun along the way, with the hopes of encouraging you to do the same. These are weird stories that I found online. Now, the first weird story that I found online here, it's House of Filth. 400 pets seized from urine-stenched home. This happened a few days ago. This is on mysanantonio.com. I'll read you a couple of paragraphs here. Over 400 animals living in their own filth were seized from a Central Texas home earlier this week, according to a release from the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Approximately 150 feeder mice and rats, 86 snakes, 56 guinea pigs, 28 dogs, 26 rabbits, 15 goats, 9 doves, 8 skinks, I don't even know what that is, 7 ferrets, 7 pigs, 6 pigeons, 4 geckos or lizards, 4 gerbils, and the list continues here, 4 turtles, 3 bearded dragons, 2 ducks, and a partridge in a pear tree. I mean, this list just continues on and on. Once again, this is a home that the smell of the filth from the animals was so, you can smell it for miles. It was disgusting. The smell was so strong that they ended up, like I said, finding this home and freeing all these animals. And it was over 400 animals living in this one space. So that's a weird story number 1. Nasty stuff. You can find it on mysanantonio.com. The next one here. Police to quiz girlfriend over British UFO conspiracy theorist mystery death after he vomited 2 liters of black fluid. That's totally weird right there. Government cover-up investigator Mark Spears was killed, prosecutors believe, and will interview his partner. All right, I'll read you a couple of paragraphs here. A science fiction writer will be quizzed by police on suspicion of killing a British conspiracy theorist who died suddenly on her sofa. Max Spears, 39, sought to expose government cover-ups and investigated UFO sightings after his mom says he saw the darker side as a child. The dad of 2, Canterbury Kent, visited Poland to speak at a conference before he died at partner Monica Duvall's home 24 hours later in July of 2016. He vomited 2 liters of black fluid before he died, his inquest heard in December. Now prosecutors opened an investigation into involuntary manslaughter and want to speak to the girlfriend who was present at the time of Mr. Spears' death. Vomited 2 liters of black fluid. Disgusting. You can find it on themirror.co.uk. Very strange, very strange. Now for kind of a funny but sad story here. Georgia man assaults mother with pork chop. Headbutts her, police say. And this happened like 6-7 days ago. In Athens, Georgia, an Athens man was arrested for assaulting his mother with a pork chop and then headbutting her for not buying him cigarettes, according to the Athens Clark County Police. Tony Bernard Ball Jr., 29, was arrested for simple battery and also charged with a probation violation from a prior case lodged 6 months earlier. According to police, Ball was eating a pork chop at his home on Simmons Street around 7:30 p.m. Monday when he became upset with his 60-year-old mother. Police said, after throwing the piece of meat, Ball got up, pushed his mother, and headbutted her, police said. Ball's father intervened and restrained him until police arrived. Once again, that was a Georgia man who assaults his mother with a pork chop and headbutts her. All right, here's the next one. NASA discovered solar system that could support life. I've always, like I said, find science is very interesting. NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope has revealed the first known system of 7 Earth-sized planets around a single star. It's fascinating. 3 of these planets are firmly located in the habitable zone. Oh, I got lost. All right. This discovery could be a significant piece in the puzzle of finding habitable environments, places that are conducive to life, said Thomas Zerbichin, Associate Administrator of the agency's Science Mission Directorate in Washington. The discovery sets a new record for the greatest number of habitable zone planets found around a single star system outside our solar system. All of these 7 planets could have liquid water, the key to life as we know it, under the right atmospheric conditions, but the chances are highest with the 3 in the habitable zone. At about 40 light years, 235 trillion miles from Earth, the system of planets is relatively close in the constellation Aquarius because they are located outside of our solar system. These planets are scientifically known as exoplanets. So it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. NASA finding a solar system that could possibly support life. Total science fiction movie, but I always say reality is stranger than science fiction. Now to the next story here. Augmented reality could turn Tinder into Pokemon Go for daters, letting users discover if passing strangers are single. I am not making this up. I'll read you a couple of lines here. It says future versions of Tinder could let users find out if strangers are single by simply pointing their smartphones at them, according to the dating app's co-founder. I'll read you a couple of paragraphs here. Future versions of Tinder could let users find out if strangers are single by simply pointing their smartphones at them. Augmented reality technology, similar to that used in Pokemon Go, could transform the dating world by letting singles discover anyone's relationship status, according to Tinder's CEO, Sean Rudd. He also predicted the app could guess which users may be attracted to each other and even offer to help plan their dates using information about their interests. I think that's similar to like what Google does when you go from website to website and they are kind of like tracking you and your interests and stuff like that. Mr. Rad, speaking at a tech conference in California, admitted his forecast could sound a little scary. But he said developments in augmented reality and artificial intelligence would definitely impact dating. The next story here. Builder accidentally fires a nail gun into his own penis and gives himself an eye-watering injury. These last two stories have been on themirror.co.uk. And I'll read you a couple of lines here. It says, most men curl up in agony if they get a kick or a light punch in the nether regions. The nether regions. So spare a thought for this young man who fired a nail gun into his own crotch at high speed. Brutal. The builder has been using a hydraulic handgun at work in Swansea when he misdemeaned, I don't even know what that word says, pulling the trigger and sent the nail flying into his own groin, just centimeters from his penis. Although the 22-year-old man doesn't wish to be named, his colleague, Matthew Meager, was found on hand to capture the photographs of the horrific injury, presumably so that he can look back fondly when he got over his pain. Matthew explained, for what a better phrase, the nail was pretty much through his dick. True story. Ouch. Once again, if you Google the story, the story is at themirror.co.uk. There is actually a picture, not of it. I'm looking at the picture now. It's basically through the underwear. They don't actually show the dude's penis. All right, so we are about to be on the second to last story. I always try to do these once a week. I'm also going to be doing live podcasts. Yesterday, I did a podcast on Dominican Independence Day, and you can find that podcast episode, which is live now on improveandhavefun.com. That is the blog. All right, so this story here is the O shot. This is on the independent.co.uk. Behind the injection, which claims to give women better orgasms. It's an injection that claims to give women orgasms. Doctor who administers the injection to women in the UK told the Independent, patients who had never experienced a vaginal orgasm did after receiving the injection. Okay? I'll read you a couple of lines here. Can you really increase and rejuvenate your sex life through an injection? Apparently so. If the miracle claims of the O shot are anything to be believed, the shot is an abbreviation of the orgasm shot. It's a non-surgical treatment which pledges to increase sexual arousal and rejuvenate the vagina, costing a hefty £1,000, which may be like $1,500 US. Dr. Sharif Wakil offers a procedure to his patients at the SW Clinic in Harley Street. And once again, this is in the UK. If he was trained in its usage by the inventor of the shot, Dr. Charles Runnels. Dr. Wakil claims his patients had reported stronger and more frequent orgasms, increased natural lubrication, and greater arousal after having the procedure, which takes around 40 minutes to administer. Once again, that is the orgasm shot. And this is a real thing, and it's giving women supposedly better orgasms. Very interesting. And the final story, the headline for this weird stories for this particular week, I tried a $5,000 hamburger, and it was absolutely worth it. $5,000 hamburger. Read you a couple of lines here. Before I took my first bite of the Floor Burger 5000, that's the name of the burger, the Floor Burger 5000, I was one of those people who thought paying $5,000 for a hamburger was both obscene and insane. This is on CNBC.com, by the way. After all, a top-of-the-line burger from Shake Shack or In-N-Out costs less than $10. And they don't get much better than that. But then I found myself in the kitchen of floor chef Huber Keller, who I think has been on Top Chef. He's been a contestant, and he's also been a judge. But then I found myself at the kitchen of floor chef Huber Keller's restaurant at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. And I watched Keller quickly sear a patty of Wagyu beef, which is $100 a pound, and douse it over and over again with rich butter, sealing in the flavor and the juice. Then I watched him slice a few slabs of prime foie gras and combine the duck fat with more butter to saute a mound of sliced black truffles, which a slice of black truffles alone by the pound is $1,500. And after that, Keller layered the 3 ingredients into a freshly baked brioche bun. The top ingredient and the main reason for its price was poured rather than cooked. A bottle of 1995 Petrus, the bottle which can often sell for $5,000 in restaurants, comes with the burger as the perfect pairing. That is the $5,000 hamburger in the Mandalay Bay Floor restaurant. Black truffles, $1,500 a pound. Wagyu beef, $100 a pound. Definitely expensive tastes. Once again, this is going to come to an end now. And if you have any comments, you can do so. I do these once a week. I don't have a particular schedule, unfortunately. You can see any and all the information on the blog. And speaking of the blog, I do have a guide, an ebook that I put out, a free ebook that you can go ahead and download. Once you go onto the blog, it's called Be Resilient, talking about tough times right now. There's a lot of people going through tough times, and this ebook will give you tips and techniques on how to go ahead and deal with tough times. And this is a free ebook which you can get instant access to once you go onto the blog, and you just give your email and you will have immediate access to that. Have you found any weird stories online? Comment below. Share it with all of us. I would love to hear your weird story that you found online. Others would love to do the same. It'd be like you're doing the same thing that I'm doing, basically, in terms of sharing these weird stories. Share your weird story. Love to read it. Reach out. I'm here. I want to talk to you. Let me know what you think about any of these weird stories. Be kind, be good to yourself, be good to others. Take care.